this is why we do what we want to do. We want to help more people do what we've done and show them the way behind it, and then continue to build ourselves to a even much, much higher level. Because when we do that, then we can create other types of experiences and give back more to the charities of our choice or things like that. So that's really where it starts. I start to light up because I'm like, oh, I can give back. I can do this, And my partner, she wants to give back and to animal shelters. Like she loves our puppies. There's so many things that we're like, I just want to do more. And people are always like, are you happy? I'm like, I want more. But it's not necessarily just like, I want more. I want more for everybody else, because the more that we can create for other people, it just kind of attracts and comes and becomes a bigger mission.
Hi, you guys, and welcome back to The Psychic Within. We are here doing a interview series with CEOs and founders who all are using either their psychic gifts or their intuition in their business. And today I'm really excited to introduce to you Tamara Thompson, who is the CEO and founder of Broadcast Your Authority. And I will tell you what, one of the things that I'm super impressed with Tamara and her business partner, who you'll meet another episode, is that their success is unbelievable. And I know that a lot of their success, they attribute to their intuition and really trusting themselves. So today we're going to dive into a little bit of that. So welcome, Tamara. I'm excited that you're here.
I am so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Want to tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do so they have that? I could explain it, but I feel like you'll be much better at that.
Yeah. So I'm the founder of a premium podcasting agency, and we primarily work with founders, CEOs, and corporations to help either launch their show and their podcast or take over their podcast because maybe they don't have the right marketing efforts in place. Maybe they haven't optimized their YouTube channels. So focusing on the video podcast first on YouTube and then repurposing it into the audio podcast. But we create all the micro content within, right? All the social media clips, all the fun stuff. But there's also strategies behind it too, because we have a background in content marketing. And it's like, how can you get more reach with these things? Do you need to put a little bit of ad spend behind it? And we've built basically a system that I call kind of like the three tripod legs of a tripod basically. And so it's the one piece is the podcasting piece. And then we have our booking side of our company. Because a lot of people over the years were literally like, Tamara, you're like known as the connector. Like why don't you guys do the booking? And we're like, well, we're staying in our own lane. We're building success on this track. Decided to open the next track because they're like, you'd be so good at it. And they kept telling us like, hey, Tamara, like we work with these agencies and the booking agencies just have poor communication. They're not very fast. They're not very kind, things like that. Their connections aren't as what we thought it was. And so they're like, please open up the doors to a podcast booking tour. So we did a couple of years ago, and we started going down that track as well. But my whole big mission and purpose is I've always loved experiences. And so that third part of the tripod leg, we put together experience models where we bring people together, if it's to record content or focus on recording professional podcasts. We also like to surprise and delight. So we do little things, throughout the experiences, treat people to fine dining dinners, get people to connect, and people do business deals. They end up having guests for their shows. And so it's just like this three-legged tripod is just really what we do in this creation around the medium of podcasts. But it's just been such a bigger experience in itself just to build a company and a team and just, I'm just passionate about the whole thing, basically.
Yeah. And I love it. And I will tell you guys, Tamara and her crew have been doing my podcast, doing my YouTube channel. And I will tell you what, it has been the most amazing experience ever. And it really does. I love it because you're right. I agree. You are such a connector. Every single time I've been in a public space with you, person to person instead of not just on Zoom.
Yeah.
You bring the most amazing and aligned people together. Even here in this weekend, I don't think I've ever been, unless I've created a psychic space where there's a lot of psychics, have I been in a space that where we come together, where it's not primarily focused on psychics, but it ends up being a huge part of the event. So we all came here to do our podcast and to create. And there's so many intuitives, there's so many psychics, there's so many people interested in it. And I think that really speaks to your intuition.
Well, yes. And it's interesting because the more that we've built this company together, Danielle and I, my partner, we went on our own spiritual journey over the years. We, didn't really tap into things or really think about things. Intuition, I believe, always played a part in growing up with things, and it's like trusting your gut, so they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, we started to, be ourselves and really trust certain things and connect with people and start really reaching out. And, we started to attract more people in the spiritual space and intuitives and psychics and things like that. It's not like all of our clients, but it just happens to fall into place. And a lot of the times when we have these experiences, the people that are available to join in, it always turns out great. Like sometimes I'll get a little nervous. I'm like, I'm not sure if so-and-so will connect. And then it's like, they're BFFs all of a sudden. It happens every single time we host some sort of experience. People have no idea what to expect if they're coming into the Vegas studio with us at SiriusXM, or if they're coming into one of these beautiful retreat spaces. And I'm just always like, I guess I just have to trust my intuition of who I'm bringing together, who I'm inviting, who of our clients would benefit of connecting for, like, not just their shows, but in general, because a lot of people end up doing business or collaborating or becoming power partners or just opening the doors for people, which I love to see happen too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. One of the things that I absolutely love and we talk about a lot is that we don't just open our psychic abilities or your intuition so that you can give people readings. And that's a very beneficial
Which I do
thing.
like to get readings.
Correct. And they're fun. And we'll talk about, I know you had a reading that I would love to ask you about. But one of the things that I think is very important is that we have to recognize that as intuitives, as psychics, everyone has these abilities. And when you use them in your line of work, so the more you open your psychic abilities or your intuition, the more you use that, your business actually grows.
100%.
You're not supposed to be then giving readings to people. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit of how you use your intuition in business, where you've trusted it, maybe where you haven't used it and things haven't gone the way you wanted, because I think it's important for people to see that we get to bring our intuition and our psychic into our everyday life. Like, it doesn't have to be we're psychic here or we're intuitive here and then we're running our business. We get to blend them together.
True. Yeah. I've always, like, growing up, my mom was always like, oh, trust your gut and things like that. That was the phrase, right? And I really did, over time see things. But anytime I didn't follow that intuition thing, like, things would not go the way I would want them to go, especially in business. So back in 2017, we hosted one of our Broadcast Your Authority events. Back then it was one of our, that specific event was called the Ultimate Stage Experience. And I ended up having got a beautiful venue, had a great partnership out in New York. So we hosted this great event. And a lot of the times when you host events, a lot of people are about themselves. It's me. Hey, I can speak at your event. Hey, can I speak at your event? Things like, what value are you bringing to the table? Right. Is it not just for your self benefit, or what are you doing for the audience that's going to be there? Yeah. And we kept receiving this message from this gal that kept pitching her so-called speaker boss, right? And I got in a call with the gal and I was like, this is not a fit. And she was like, why? And I was like, I don't feel like it's the right fit. My feelings is that. I was just honest. I'm very blunt. I'm very honest. You didn't
have like a reason. You weren't like, this isn't this. It's just my feeling. I feel this isn't right.
Exactly. And then after I said no, the gal kept following up. So I was like, well, man, she's persistent. I was like, I do appreciate persistence because I'm a very persistent person as well in life and business. So I was like, okay, well, I got to give it to her there. So I started to do a little bit of research about this gentleman. And so I was like, okay, well, I look through the social medias. You're like, well, he's connected to so-and-so and connected to so-and-so. And I'm like, I do like and trust these individuals, right? But then I'm looking through some other individuals where I'm like, not feeling like I don't feel good about their presence, like online. There's just something there that just felt like slimy in words, right? I'm just being honest.
Yes.
And so I was like, something still didn't feel right. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to let this gentleman come speak at the event. Then they come back again and they said, and I live in Arizona. And at the time I also lived in Arizona, but we're hosting an event in New York. I like to travel, right?
Yeah.
And they came back and they said, what if you have him speak at your event? We have our event in Scottsdale, Arizona, a few weeks after your event. Why don't we do a stage swap, right? And I was like, well, maybe that could be beneficial, right? So, because I want to speak on more stages, I wanted to get the message out there more and connect with more people. And I saw a couple of people that were also speakers at the upcoming event. I was like, well, I do know them, like not personally, but I do like their energy that they put out. I was like, that could be a good connection to make. Yeah. So I finally was like, yes, he can come out here and speak at the event. And it was the worst decision I had ever made. The gentleman did not follow through with his promise of me to speak at his event, completely reneged the contract, didn't communicate. Nobody on the team communicated. He ended up firing the gal that basically was negotiating with me after this event. But the worst part about it was when he stepped into our space, our sacred space, safe space for our clients and people, the attendees at this event, that there was the thing that left the mark is a woman walked up to me and she grabbed me and I was in the back of the room and she said, I just want to let you know that this has been the best event I've been to in a long time until this gentleman walked in the room. She had to leave the room because of the energy he was putting out there. But I was very embarrassed by the dynamic and the verbiage and the things that he started to say to the audience. He was trying to joke. There were things that were said that were sexual harassment towards women in the audience. Wow. There were motions and things that he did that trying to get an audience to lighten up, which was very uncalled for. And after I went through that, I literally apologized to everyone there, the sponsors, the attendees, even though most of them kind of just blew it off. They're like, oh, whatever, it's fine.
Right.
But I felt so uneasy that I was like, I knew I should have trusted that intuition. Yeah. It said 3 times, don't have this person come into this space. And after that, I was like, never again am I not going to, I just say no. You say, people, one of my mentors back in the day, she says, say yes to success. I said, say yes to success until you're at the point where you don't need to. And you're like, no, just say no to what does not serve you.
Yeah.
And that's what's really important to us at this point. We say no to a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it's our event for our clients and our people and our audience members. If it doesn't make sense, then why are we hosting that? We don't want that energy to come in because we're very protective of our energy at this point.
Yeah. And you do such a beautiful job with your events. You really do. So to have something like that at an event, that's crazy. But it's such a great example. People will say to me, and you might experience this, people will say, but I don't have a reason. They'll feel the gut instinct and they're like, but I don't have the reason behind it.
Shouldn't that be the reason though?
It should.
You don't feel right. You literally don't feel right. So that is the reason that something is not right.
Yeah. And I love that you trust that. I love that you trust that because your business is incredibly successful. So do you have any tips or things that you can offer people to really help them? Maybe it's something that you do to really trust that intuition in your business and maybe where you do use it. I'm assuming you use it all the time, but you also do a lot of strategy and you do a lot of, you do have a lot of knowledge. So how do you balance the two?
That's a loaded question itself. What's interesting is I want to say I'm able to also read people.
Yeah.
So good. When I'm with someone in a matter of seconds, I can understand if energetically we're going to connect or not. Is this on a Zoom call? Is this in person? And it's interesting because no matter what, if I'm able to read someone and I'm still working with someone, it doesn't mean that our personalities are going to connect necessarily or all of our energy, but I still choose to work with individuals and guide them through, I do use my intuition in certain things because I ask a lot of questions. So when I'm on a strategy call with someone, right, I need to learn a little bit more about them and their background and everything going forward with things. Cause a lot of people just step into strategy calls and they say, hey, XYZ. And yes, I can come in and Danielle can come in and our team can come in and say, hey, do XYZ. But I always step back and ask deeper questions. And I believe that's part of the intuition, just like understanding an individual, because if we're not on the same wavelength, I still need to understand them and where they've come from and where they're going and their goals. And I do that in all situations. So I'm using, I believe, my intuition in all aspects of that, like helping the clients, but I dig a little bit more deeply on what really the true purpose is, what's the behind story. Because people will just come in and be like, I want to make more money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's great. We all do. Well, this I would assume many people do.
Yeah.
But I was like, but why are you doing this?
Yep.
Where did this come from? And people always say like, oh, yeah, what's your why and things like that. But it is true. You have to kind of pinpoint different things, but I use my intuition to ask the right questions, feel it out, respond to their answers empathetically, but also with direction. So hopefully that gives a little bit more sense how I use that, I guess, in business.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Yeah, I think that's such a great distinguishing factor, because I think a lot of people will just jump right into something, or they'll think, I'm going to make a lot of money if I do this. So I think that that's a beautiful way of looking at people's why, asking, going deeper, but still trusting that gut instinct that you have. I love that. So before our show even started, you were telling me about a story of an interaction that you had with a psychic about your business.
I'm like, which
being
one?
In Sedona. I think it was in Sedona. You maybe?
Oh, yes.
You want to share that a little bit and how it really did unfold? And
yes. So I believe it was probably one of the first times that my partner and I had a psychic reading. So we went in as a couple, and we might have had some before that, but this one really kind of stuck because we were like, okay. And we love Sedona. We go up quite often, every season or so when we can. We take the dogs up. We go up to Bell Rock and hike and meditate and things like that and relax. And then we like to go to the gem store shops and everything. And then one of the shops we went up to, we're like, oh, we're going to get a psychic reading. We're like, let's get a psychic reading. And so we turn around and we're like, let's see what happens. We're going to ask about our business, right?
Yeah.
And so we went up there to Sedona and we went in. The gal's name was Nancy. She was a wonderful lady. I believe we're still connected on Facebook to this day. We tend to connect with many people on Facebook and other platforms. And she walked down and sat with us, and she was just kind of going through her emotions and things. And we're just asking certain things. And she literally turned some of the cards, and she looks up at us and she goes, you ladies have no idea where your path is leading. You have no idea how much success you will bring to the world, but to the fact that you are going to be helping so many people. We're just kind of giggling because we're like, yes, please. We would love to help more people. We'd love to have business and success. And so we had that reading, and then things started to change around in our company, scaling fast forward, years later. And we've had different, sessions like that, but it was just interesting to say to someone she's like, you aren't going to understand really until you hit it, what I'm meaning in this day. And so
she was right.
Incredibly.
Yeah.
So,
that's amazing.
Very, very grateful. So we've been able to build a multi-million-dollar agency and help so many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of podcasts launch and continue. And we're still building out the network as well. We've got over 1,000 people in our network in the connections for who we've built the relationships with. Yeah. So, and it's continuing to grow because we have a much bigger picture for Broadcaster Authority to open up experiences in different states, different quarters, and there'll be other people leading the experiences other than myself and Danielle. Yeah. And so it's more about creating a movement at this point to spread the word, because it's something much, much higher than myself and Danielle and the company. And so that's really our bigger goal, is to launch many different aspects to it, from a video on demand platform to spreading experiences that are hosted by our brand ambassadors, basically people that love and trust us, and will grow with the movement. So.
Yeah. And I love that. One of the things that I believe in is that when you're connected to your soul, when you're here doing what you're supposed to be doing, you are able to create a movement. And so my question to you is, do you feel that the things that you bring into your business, the ideas that you get, because I feel like you're like an idea generator, but when you get these ideas,
don't sleep much. I'm like,
I know.
I'm write it down. I'm like, let's just wake up.
This is a great idea.
Yes.
Do you feel like those come from a deeper purpose as to why you're here?
I do, and it's funny because over the years, people were always like, why? People always ask me the why question.
Yeah.
Like, why do you do what you do? And I was always like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it was just, I was like, well, I just want to help people. But like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, I want to help people get their message out. I want to help them share their stories. I want to help them build their YouTube channels. Like, I just want to help people. But then we found like the medium that we really wanted to do that in, because we did that method with our production company years back. We did storytelling. I was so passionate about getting their story and message out there, but we wanted to work with individuals on a consistent factor. Mm-hmm. So we shifted from one-off production type projects into something that could be more consistent, like a weekly show. So that made sense for the whole shift, but everything we were doing was creating this movement. Yeah. And years back, we had originally said we wanted to just help more women, but then we were like, well, we don't want to disregard other people in the world, but we're still really passionate about helping women. So we're basically launching our new shows as well. So they are focused, our Women Unlocking Wealth show, which we're going to have you on as well. Yep. That's one of the biggest things where we're trying to help the women that haven't quite hit success, or maybe they're in the brinks of scaling, because that number of 1.9% of female founders hitting, the $1 million mark, like it's so sad.
It is
that's the way it is in life. Like we want to help more women to step up into their confidence and become courageous and build their multi-million-dollar agency firm or business on that side. So that really evolved where I was like, this is why we do what we want to do. We want to help more people do what we've done and show them the way behind it, and then continue to build ourselves to an even much, much higher level. Because when we do that, then we can create other types of experiences and give back more to the charities of our choice or things like that. So that's really where it starts I start to light up, because I'm like, I can give back. I can do this, and my partner, she wants to give back and to animal shelters. Like she loves our puppies, there's so many things that we're like, I just want to do more. And people are always like, are you happy? I'm like, I want more, but it's not necessarily just like, I want more. I want more for everybody else, because the more that we can create for other people, it just kind of attracts and comes and becomes a bigger mission. So.
I love that. And I agree. I think your more is a very different energy than people who are just like, I just need more. I need more. And that desperation, where yours is more of a, I need more. And it's in a giving space. And it's a really beautiful place to watch and witness, but also to receive in. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Now, when you were a child, or actually, you know what? One of the things that kept popping in when you were sitting here is the other day, yesterday, when we were in a room, and somebody said, are all you guys psychic here? Like, how many psychics? You actually raised your hand. I saw you raise your
because you told me everybody has psychic abilities.
So my question, yes, and it's so true.
I'm just stepping into my confidence.
You're just like, Carrie said, so I'm going to raise my hand.
That's what it was.
But I think my question is, do you believe that, like, I know you're like, I'm intuitive, but is there a part of you that also is like, you know what, I can do this even deeper, and I'm owning the fact that I'm psychic?
I do believe it. Actually, listening more to you and your content and your conversations with people, like, I was like, Carrie's inspired me to understand that I have psychic ability. It's being able to now learn and tap and, hire individuals like yourself. Just, I'm like, hey, I'm going to work with Carrie, because, you have got great, remarkable track record, and just listening to you in person through the conversations we had with other people, I was like, this has to be true, right? Yeah. People are able to tap into that. And I'm 100% believe that. It's just, I haven't done it myself quite yet.
Yeah. So. But I love the fact that you were like, yes, I'm also psychic. So I just want to point that out. I think that's amazing.
Yes, amazing. I am psychic. And so are you.
Oh, that's awesome. So question, we oftentimes have experiences when we're a child with psychic or intuition or imaginary friends. And sometimes people remember, sometimes they don't. Do you have any experiences when you were a child that you can think of that you either really used your intuition or had memories or had downloads that maybe you just passed off as, a coincidence?
I don't believe I remember things like that primarily as a child. Now I kind of step into a space where all of a sudden I'll just say like, oh, I just got a download. Like,
Yes.
and like I have a ringing in my ear, or it's like something, and I don't know why necessarily I'm saying, I'll say it out loud. I'm like,
Yeah.
I literally say like, oh, I just had a download. And then I'm like, why did I say that?
Yeah.
You know? And my partner, she's had experiences where she actually saw individuals at a young age and things like that. So she has some great stories that she can share with other people as well. But I personally haven't, not that I can recall from a young age perspective, but definitely things are opening up more now as I'm becoming more in tune with it.
Yeah. And that ringing in the ear, do you know what that is?
I've been told by many people different things. So
yeah. Okay. So
clarity.
When you have that ringing in your ear, it is normally a guide or a being trying to communicate with you, and you're hearing the vibration of the energetics, because guides and beings communicate with energy.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. So they don't talk the same way you and I do. You can interpret it that way, but they communicate with energy.
Would you say that if that's coming through, that they're like literally like telling you like, don't do that, or yes, do that?
No.
Or like, is it like something that like, because when I have it, it's like I almost understand like what's going on, but in my own head, I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on, but my body does. I don't know.
Yeah. So it can be a couple things. One of it can just be your awareness that that's coming in. An awareness of like, it's them almost letting you know that like, hey, this is an important message. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, this is something you should pay attention to. But the second thing can be because you're not listening. So if you're in your head a lot and you're trying to figure something out and they're trying to give you the answer, that ringing or that, have you ever had like a pain in your ear where it's just like a really quick, like, okay, wow.
Yes.
That is your guides normally saying, stop and listen. Like stop and listen, whether it's just listening to your intuition and listening to that gut, or if you have the ability to actually hear your guides and be like, okay, wait, what? And it's exactly how you said, where you're like, I just kind of know what that message is.
Well, and I've always used the term a sense of knowing.
Yes.
Like Danielle and my partner, she will say something to me and she'll ask me something and I'll just be like, no, I just know it's not right. Or I know this, or we should do this because I know something's going to happen there. Like very quickly.
Yes.
Something's going on in life and business. And I'm constantly like, I know we need to do this. I know we need to invest in this. I know we need this. She'll be like, well, slow down. Like, what? Yes, I know we need to host an event this year. I've been told, like, I know that I've been told, but it's not like somebody physically spoke to me and said, host an event. But I know, like, I'm being told.
Yeah.
So that's what's interesting.
Those are your psychic abilities.
Okay.
That's the psychic abilities.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because it's not necessarily, like, it's that idea where you saying, I was told. Okay.
Well, the same scenario happened when we hosted an event, when we shifted a business model and we provided a new offer from the stage one year. So I was told, I knew I needed to hire Randy Zuckerberg as our speaker. Mm-hmm. Right. Something that said, I need to know her. She's supposed to be in my space. And people are like, oh, she's not gonna be your friend or anything. I'm like, somebody's telling me that I need to hire her. So I hired her to come out to our event. And, it was like $60,000. And most people are like, I don't hire speakers for that. I was like, I know I need to do this. So I did. And then she came out to our event, and then she came up to our event planner and she was like, my event planner came up next after the event. She told me, she's like, she came up to me and said, Tamara is one of the most humble millionaires I've ever met. Yeah. And then she followed me on Instagram that night. We started to chat and we built a relationship and became golf buddies during COVID, and then became really good friends. And then she became a maid of honor at her wedding. Mm-hmm. But that told me that I was told to do that, but not just on the friendship side, right? I was told to host that event and structure it a certain way to present a brand new offer. When we were able to turn around and present that offer from the stage, within 2 days, we generated almost $250,000 in sales. And so I was like, okay, we've created a concept. We sold this idea, and it worked. We proved that people wanted it. So my partner literally was like holding back, like, we shouldn't do this event. We shouldn't do this. I'm like, I know we need to do this. Please trust me. We ended up doing business deals with Randy Zuckerberg after that, doing other things as well that generated back multiple six-figure deals with her and other things. And then she also taught me how to become an investor. That's amazing. I started investing in almost 25 women-owned companies now. There's some male-owned companies in there.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll let them slide. They can do that. Yeah.
But I wanted to help more women at the time. So she
Yeah.
taught us how to do that. And my partner also has invested in over 20 companies.
Wow. See, that's one of the things that I see people struggle with is the fact that they're like, but I didn't hear a guide. I didn't see
I was just
something.
like, I just know.
Correct. It's that
She's like,
knowing.
know.
It's that download.
But it's so strong. Like
Yes.
I literally see something. I'm like, I know we have to do this. I know we have to travel. I know I have to be in front of that person. I know I need to call that person.
Yeah. And it's beautiful that you trust that, because a lot of people do not trust that. They don't trust that innate knowing or that download that they get. And that is 100% communication from a guide. It's the universe saying, or, even just divine interference saying, you have to communicate with these people. You have to do this.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love this. Oh my gosh, I love this. Thank you so much for being here and for being on my show.
For having me. I appreciate
and for, sharing your story. And I love your mission. I agree with you. I feel like there's not enough wealth in women-owned businesses and in the hands of women. So
there's plenty to go around in the world. Everyone can build that wealth journey. So
yeah. And you have helped me greatly with my podcast and my YouTube. And it means the world to me. Like we wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for you. So I want to acknowledge that, but I also want you to let people know where they can connect with you. So if somebody is looking to really get out there, use their voice, create their show, you are definitely the person to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate the compliments.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Those that are looking to create a show, or maybe you have a show and you want to help amplify it more, create content behind it, marketing, go to broadcastyourauthority.com. You can follow us on all social media. We love Instagram. Follow us at Broadcast Your Authority. Myself, I love Instagram personally, and you can follow me at Tamara Thompson Official. I'm on all platforms, but that's my favorite one.
Awesome.
So thank you so much, Carrie, for having me today.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys, I absolutely believe that every single person is psychic. And sometimes we just don't recognize how psychic we really are. So I'm going to be sharing so many of these stories. And as you're listening to them, I want you to really tune into what else you're experiencing so that you can start to see that you're psychic too. Be sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next episode of The Psychic Within.